Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Million Dollar Body Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Palmer, and this is the intersection of physical and financial success. If you're here, you're probably a high performer, an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a busy dad that's interested in gaining unfair advantage in your life using fitness and nutrition as force multipliers. If you're not already a part of the Facebook group, definitely go to n8trainingsystems.com/group. That's where the group is. And if you don't know that yet, because this is maybe the first episode you've ever heard, well, I'm glad you're here. Thanks a lot. And if you do know that and you're like, would he stop talking about that? No. And also you're out of the Facebook group. If you're in the Facebook group and you're like, I don't like that I don't like he talks about this, then you're getting booted out and you're not allowed back in anymore. That's where we stream these podcast episodes every Wednesday. You can join in and ask questions if you want to. And if you're nice, because if you're not nice, then you get out of here. It's kind of a ton of cool stuff happening. Actually, this week we're doing our 5-day sugar detox. We're in the swing of it right now. We're about 3 days into it. Today was an awesome day. We started adding in the healing salve. If you want to know what that is, and you're not a part of the sugar detox, let me know, and maybe I'll let you know. Maybe I won't. Maybe you can get someone else who's nicer than me to share the handbook with you. But I wouldn't count on it. Not knowing this crew. Before we get started, one of the things I like to do is to give a big shout out to the people accomplishing big stuff in the Million Dollar Body community. So I wanted to give a shout out today to Len. Len has been absolutely dominating it. We've been working together since December 2020, and he has been seeing some incredible results. And I don't know if a lot of you will resonate with this, but like for the first month or so, we were pretty much plateaued. So we were working through a plateau. Nothing was working. And we finally started figuring out that Len, 4 hours of sleep is not enough every single night. And, surprisingly enough, once we got that back up to even 6.5, 7 hours of sleep, doing all the other behaviors, eating the same way, doing these really small, short workouts, the weight started coming off. So since December, I think we're down 35, 40 pounds, but most of that came kind of from March on. So Len, amazing job. Keep it up. Today, we're talking about being lean versus being shredded and why that's important and who cares? Because at the end of the day, all the Instagram clout you gained through having six-pack abs doesn't matter and it's not going to get you anything. So why does it even matter what you look like? And I'll tell you why. But first, I want to talk about what the difference is between being lean and shredded. So in case you're like, well, that's the same thing. It is not the same thing. Being shredded, I just want to say this. I'm going to get it out of the way because I'm going to say it at some point during the episode. I need to say it right now. It's just so we can if you're like, I do not like the way you're talking right now, then you can get out early. I don't need you to stick around. But if you want to be shredded, when I'm talking about shredded, I'm talking about dick skin shredded. I'm talking about veiny, vascular, sinewy muscles. I'm using a lot of adjectives right now, and I'm going to say it. You're looking engorged. Quite engorged. So that's what I'm thinking of when I think of shredded. These people are stepping on stage. They're super ripped. They've got a million veins. They have ab veins and glute veins and veins everywhere. They're mostly look emaciated. Their face is like a lot of hard lines, no fat on their face at all. And I like to think of this as between kind of like that 3 and 6% body fat mark. Okay, that's like shredded. Lean to me is kind of that 7 to 12%. It's like where you're showing some visible abs. You got some definition. You got some veins. You probably have like a bicep vein. If you're real lucky, you got one of those super cool shoulder veins. I don't have one of those. So if you do, then congratulations. And I'm jealous. But that's when you start getting lean, you start seeing some of those things pop up. So if you're like, I don't know what my body fat is, I haven't been able to test it. You can double check just by, looking in the mirror. Do you have veins? Do you have bicep veins? Do you have shoulder veins? Are you seeing any veins outside of your forearms? If so, you're probably kind of in that, at least under 15%, probably getting closer to that 12% mark. So that's lean is much easier to accomplish, obviously, because just like a lot of things where, you can kind of accomplish a lot. I think of this as like skiing. Skiing is pretty easy to learn. I think skiing is easier to learn than snowboarding. But it's really hard to master because you can gain a lot of skill in 1 day skiing, and then you can get a little bit better in 2 weeks of skiing. But if you want to master skiing, if you want to be really incredible at it, you got to practice for years and years and years and years. Same with getting this level of shredded. You can get really lean pretty easily. You can get and maintain a lean body without a whole lot of stress, without it taking over your life at all. But if you want to get shredded, it gets harder and harder and harder, and your inputs have to be a lot more intense. So the reason I bring this up, and I'm not bitter, I'm a little bitter, is because one of my clients had messaged me and showed me a screenshot of another fitness professional who I will not name, who was talking some shit about the $1 Million Body Program, or at least it came across as if some shit talking. So I was naturally offended. It's my baby, obviously. So they were saying how like, yeah, if you want to get really lean, if you want to get super shredded, the $1 Million Body Program sucks for that. And I was like, hey, you got to use the S word, man. Like you got to say sucks, rude. And number two, yeah, it does actually. It does. So upon further introspection, I was like, yes, I'm offended a little bit that you're talking shit, but also you're right. It's not the program for getting people shredded. It's just not. And that's by design. That's by design. And I'm leaning into that. I'm embracing it. And I want to share with you why that's the case. So, because when you're shredded, your life is hard. Your life is hard and it's not that much fun. Okay. So when you're shredded, here's a couple just differentiators. When you're shredded, you're hungry all the time. You're never not hungry. When you're MDB lean, that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call that like kind of like that 7 to 10, 12%. We'll call that MDB lean, $1 Million Body lean, because that's maintainable, it's sustainable, it's something you can keep for the rest of your life. It's not that big of a deal. When you're MDB lean, you're hungry maybe 1 day per week if you're doing a fast. When you're shredded, you got brain fog, you got low energy, you're never on point. When you're MDB lean, you got high energy, lots of focus on demand. You just boom, you just think about it and it happens. And then sometimes like you can just like, fabricate things out of your brain and just like create them. Like it's not all the time. Results are not typical, but like it does give a lot of people ESPN. It's not true. If you're shredded, you have an additional full-time job counting calories and training. So if you're a dad, if you own a business, then get ready to stack some hours on top of that, because maintaining a shredded lifestyle is going to take work, time, and intensity. If you're MDB lean, you're doing batch prep, you're doing some daily movement. It doesn't take you much time at all, probably closer to that 45 minutes to an hour per day, even counting like cooking your dinner. Not a big deal. If you're shredded, your wife hates you. I don't know. I can't, I guess, say that's completely true, but like, since most shredded people are, we'll just call them grumpy Gusses, because they're hungry, they're tired, they're not sleeping well. And I don't know about you, when I'm tired, hungry, and not sleeping, I am a grumpy Gus. So if you want everyone around you to like you and you want to be a joy at work and at home, then I would suggest maintaining a lean lifestyle rather than a shredded lifestyle. If shredded, you can't have cake. You just can't. MDB lean, you can have cake. You can have cake. It's no problem. If you're shredded, you got to do boring, steady state cardio all the time. If you're MDB lean, you can do walks, you can do sprints, you can move around, you can enjoy yourself. You can act like an athlete rather than just walking up a treadmill, which, by the way, if you walk up a treadmill, if you put the treadmill on an incline and you hold onto the sides, it's not an incline. That's false. You're basically walking flat. So if you see someone at the gym and they're walking up the treadmill like a 15 incline, leaned way back, holding on, that's not an incline. That's walking on a flat surface and using your fingers. Put it on an incline, walk up the incline, don't touch anything. That's what a treadmill's for. If you're shredded, you get no tacos. If you're MDB lean, you get tacos all the time. And I'm living proof of that. If you're shredded, you can have zero alcohol. If you're MDB lean, you can have alcohol occasionally. I've seen basically 1 time per week. You can still get some results on that. 2 times per week, and you can pretty much maintain. More than that, you kind of mess with you. If you're shredded, you're going to be more popular on the gram. I'm not going to lie to you. If you're MDB lean, though, you're going to be more popular in real life. Everyone is going to think that you're the best. I can't kind of attest to that personally, but just trust me on it. Just trust me. So here's the thing, though. Like, a lot of us are sitting here and being like, well, like, why does it even matter? What's the difference between getting lean and shredded? What does it matter to my life? I'm so glad you asked. Thanks for bringing that up. Because being lean, I think that sometimes we have a perception that it'd be nice to be lean. I used to be in better shape. I'd like to get like a little bit off, lose my dad bod a little bit here. But here's what's imperative for you to get lean. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you a story. This is not the analogy I promised you, by the way. So just stick around because it's coming. I'm actually going to tell you what it is. And you're gonna be like, that was it. That's why I stuck around. So I guess reserve judgment. So they did a study of liver donor prospects. So this study was based off of people who raised their hand and said, hey, I would like to donate my part of my liver to someone else in my family, one of my friends who needs a liver. They have cirrhosis or whatever else. And I'd like to be able to donate to them because I'm good to go. And so what we see from this, like already off the bat, is this is a healthy population. This is a population of people that are like, we're good. We're pretty healthy. You know, we're doing just fine. We can exist without like with half of our liver. We'll be okay. You know, so you're not talking about people who are super obese. You're not talking about people with type 2 diabetes. You're not talking about people with like alcohol liver disease. You're not talking about a lot of people with cancer. These are healthy individuals. Okay. 80% of these people were rejected because they already had fatty liver disease. 80% of people who are already like saying, hey, I'm in a healthy demographic, I'm healthy enough to donate some of my liver to someone else, already had fatty liver disease or were developing it. That is crazy. That's an insane statistic. And here's what that means. Okay. So fatty liver disease is caused by visceral and organ fat. Okay. We talk about visceral fat a lot. We talk about belly fat, but I don't want to treat this lightly because visceral fat is the opposite of a symbiote. It's a parasite. Visceral fat grows in your belly cavity, in your stomach cavity, kind of like in this area, and starts growing around your organs. Okay. It becomes organ fat when it starts growing through your organs, which is like a whole nother level of no thanks. But visceral fat starts growing around your organs. And what it does is it starts constricting and squeezing your organs and growing and growing and growing. And this visceral fat at a certain point kind of switches and it turns on. So you see the movie Venom? Here it is. See the movie Venom where a sweaty Tom Hardy is running around New York City or whatever with like a voice in his head that's like, eat garbage or whatever. The voice in Venom, by the way, if I could do my life again and have that voice, I would probably take that upgrade because it's hilarious, but I like it so much. So so Venom's like got him running around, like eating a lobster at a restaurant, eating stuff out of like old tater tots out of the garbage, just always hungry. That's what visceral belly fat is like, except for less hilarious. It is a living, breathing organism, not breathing really, it doesn't have lungs, but it's a living organism that starts developing capillaries. Okay. So developing its own blood vessel system. And that might not seem like a big deal, but it's crazy what this means. It means that this blob, this amorphous fat glob has started to take on its own like sentience. Again, it's a little bit hyperbolic right here, but it starts to be able to send signals to your brain. So this starts to be more of an organ and less of just this visceral fat just sitting around and being like, oh yeah, I guess I could lose 5 pounds. It starts communicating with your brain without consulting you first. And here's what it says. Here's what it says to your brain. Slow down. Slow down. Don't move so much. Slow down. Don't think so hard. Don't put a lot of energy out there. Get sedentary, sit down, get sluggish. It starts putting that on you. Okay. And you might be like, I got some weight to lose. Like, yeah, I don't have any like definition. Like I got a little chunk. I client calls it the pancita, the little bread. So you might think like, I might have that. But in reality, underneath the skin, inside your stomach cavity, you got some visceral fat building up that is pulling you down. Every time you do something, crabs in a bucket, it's pulling you back down. It's like, don't go for that run. Don't get up early in the morning. You need more sleep. Check the cabinet one more time. See if there's anything else in there that we could eat. It starts sending you signals to your brain saying, hey, we're hungry. Grab some food. Hey, sit down. Hey, don't go for a run. So it starts like it becomes a parasitic relationship with you, visceral fat. Once it gets to this point though, you're basically working with a separate organ that has its own best interest in mind and not yours. The goal of the visceral fat in your belly is to grow and to gain size and to take over the world. not the last one, but the other two for sure. So it will do everything in its power to get you to stay from expending energy, to get you to continue to ingest calories and energy, and to keep you from moving around, keep you like sedentary and lethargic. Okay. So that's physically and that's mentally for sure. And if you can combat those things by becoming lean, because really the only people who are able to donate their liver to someone else who needs it, think like a family member, your daughter. Like, how horrible would it be to get to that point where you're like, oh baby, I would love to donate like some of my liver to you. It's no problem. I got you. Dad's got you. And you can't. How shitty would that be? So like when we start thinking about like, oh yeah, I need to get in a little bit better shape. It's not about you as much anymore, especially as a business owner, especially as a dad. Like, it's not about us. It's about the people around us. It's about our families, it's about our kids, you know? And if we can't show up big time when it really, really matters because we were dicking around and just drinking too much and like the inanity of going to like the fridge at 9 p.m. and being like, I could just have a little snack. If you think about those little behaviors and what it means in like the grand scheme of things for your health and your family's health, like it becomes so much easier to be like, why would I do that? So that's what I'm not trying to yell at you. I'm trying to yell at you. I am trying to yell at you. Not like it, but kind of in a fun way. Because I want you to see how serious this is. This is a serious issue that plagues people that we don't even realize, because most of us don't have access to a DEXA scan where we can actually see what our levels of belly fat are, because it has this like magic camera that scans our entire body. So most of us don't have access to these things. We're never gone and gotten checked. So I can tell you a couple of things. Number one, if your waist to height ratio is 0.47 or above, if you take your waist at your belly button, you divide by your height, both in inches or centimeters or whatever, wherever you're from, you know, stones or poods or I don't know. I'm from America, so I don't know other things other than imperial. And if that number is higher than 0.47, then you are at risk of developing fatty liver disease. You already have visceral belly fat. You need to fix that issue. Okay. And that's why being lean is not so much this like vanity thing. I just want to look lean, beach vacation. This is important. This is life or death. Maybe not your life or death, but certainly your life, because it's not about the years in your life at this point. It's about the life in your years. Do you want to spend time going to the doctor? Do you want to spend time like working through some of like the medications and the doctor visits that come from being in a position like this? Or do you want to live out a highly energized, very, very healthy life because you took the time to deal with this early? So get lean right now. If you've never been to the point where you can see your abs as a man, you should do that. At some point in your life, you should be able to see your abs. You should do that one time as an adult, at least. And then the thing about it is, if you can do that in a very smart, sustainable way, is you can keep that. You can keep it. You can keep that for life. You can't keep shredded because someone will kill you, probably your wife. But you can keep lean. You can keep lean for the rest of your life. So, and if you're interested in figuring out exactly what we do to get our clients lean and keep them lean for the rest of their lives, two different options for you here. Okay. Number one, grab a quick slot on my calendar. Go to calendly.com/N8training/strategy, and we can talk about it. See if the $1 Million Body Method program is the right fit for you. Is it what you need right now to get results? Or grab a copy of my book on Amazon, or join the group and I'll send you a free the PDF version of the book. In that book, I go through the steps, the exact habits, the exact 7 daily investments that it takes to get and maintain a lean body. I'll tell you all of them. So grab the book. You can get it on Amazon if it's like $2 or $3. You can get it in this group. I'll give it to you for free. You can, or hop on my calendar. We'll have a discussion and make sure it's the last discussion you ever have around getting and staying lean for the rest of your life. So that's the difference between lean and shredded. That's why lean is not necessarily a vanity metric, but an important piece of your life that's going to help you get what you want. I get that not everyone loves working out. I get that no one in their right mind loves meal prep. But if that is the difference between saving someone's life who's important to you, saving your own life, having a great high quality of life for the remainder of your years, then why not? Then why wouldn't you? Most of us, if I talk to dads 100% of the time, if I go, hey, would you take a bullet for your kid? Would you die for your kid? The answer is yes. That's not a hard question. Every dad would die for their kids. But the question is, would you live for them? Thanks for checking out the podcast, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you a little bit later.